For anybody that doesn't know us, we're a Microsoft Gold partner based in the UK. We specialise in Office 365 and Microsoft Cloud technologies. You can find out more about us on our website, so I won't spend a long time boring you with that. Teams, groups and Yammer. The buzzword at Microsoft at the moment is very much collaboration. It's a thing that's driving a lot of their software development at the moment. It's driven very much by what people are demanding, what people are using. People now are very quickly moving away from email, certainly in their personal lives. They're using social apps, they're using Yammer, WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all sorts of different platforms to communicate. My son's 17, you send him an email, it doesn't get read. He's on Messenger, he's on all sorts of things that I don't understand. And similarly, social tools are being used very much more in businesses. Microsoft Teams is pretty much a response to a product called Slack, which is gaining quite a lot of footfall within industry as a way to manage projects and for teams to very quickly get together and collaborate online. And the problem for organizations is if we don't respond to that, and if we don't give people tools that they need to work in the ways that they want, as we know, they'll find their own ways of doing things. So people use Dropbox, people use Google Drive, people use all sorts of cloud technologies. And as soon as people start to do that, then us as IT professionals, we've lost control. So we've lost control of the information that they're sharing, files that they're sharing, and governance becomes a real problem. So for people who are using Microsoft technologies, and particularly people who are using Office 365, it makes sense to try and keep everything in the family. And this is what Microsoft's responding to. So they're trying to give us tools that we can give to people to allow them to do what they want to do in sort of a managed way that we can keep control of. And if they're using Microsoft tools and technologies throughout, then those files are being stored on systems that we can control, and we can sort of watch what's happening and help just make sure that good business practices are being followed. So that's a very brief introduction. Yeah, you'll see on the screen some of the technologies and how they're all joined together. And really the aim of this webinar is to try and make sense of what a few of these products are, so let you have a quick look at them. And just to try and explain why you'd use one and not another, and how they might fit within your organization. So that's what we're going to try and do. I'm going to try my best to finish at 2 o'clock. Yeah, so first off, we're going to dive straight in and have a look at Microsoft Teams. Okay, so hopefully you're all now seeing my desktop. Microsoft Teams, it's a very new product. It's released very recently. We've been able to see it in preview mode for a few months now. And it's really the big thing at the moment. Lots of people are talking about it. Lots of people are enjoying using it. It's part of Office 365. So if you go into your menu in Office 365, wherever you are, you should be seeing a new icon, a new button there for Microsoft Teams. Now, although it's part of Office 365, the great thing about Microsoft Teams is it also exists as a standalone app that you can download on your Windows device, on your desktop, but also on your iPhone, on your Android phone, on your tablet. So it's designed for people to work everywhere and to join up with people within the organization. One slight downside at the moment is a team can only be formed from people within your organization. So currently, you can't bring in people who are customers, clients, suppliers. That's being worked on, and it's promised to be released for over the next few months. So if we go down into the Teams and click on the icon, that brings up the interface within the browser. So we're still within the browser, within Office 365. Yes, I'm still here. But you also have an app that you can download, which has got which looks exactly the same as the browser-based version of Teams, but it's actually got some really nice additional functionality in it. So if you're going to be using Teams, we advise that you go into the Microsoft Store, you download the app, and use it from there. When you come into Teams, you'll see, as you would expect, a number of teams. So down this panel here, we've got 3 teams that we've set up that we're using internally. And then within the teams, you have channels. And the whole idea is that anybody within the organization that's got access to this can very quickly build a team and build an area for that team to collaborate and work together. And within there, they can share files, they can chat, they can create plans, create calendars, have meetings, and it's very instant, really. So whereas tools like SharePoint are very structured and formalized, and you want to keep very clean and tidy, Teams is designed for people just to spin up a team, get some work done, do the job, and then move on. The nice thing from your point of view is that rather than people working via emails or just chatting in Skype, all of this information is then collected together, and it can be stored and it can be referred back to. So here we have a marketing team. Within the marketing team, we've got various channels. So we've got CRM, social media, and website. We'll go down to a management team. Not a lot in there. One of the things that we use it for is for running tenders. We found this really useful. So whenever a new tender comes in, we'll very quickly create a new channel in here. We'll upload the documents. We can then chat about the documents, go through the 2 or 3 week process, which is actually working collaboratively on the response to the tender, get the tender done, and then again we've got a record in here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to very quickly create a new team and go through the process so that I can show you some of the functionality that's in here, and particularly how easy this all is to use. So down at the bottom, if I click on the Add Team button, I create a team, and I'm going to create a team called Webinars. So we're going to use this team for collaboration on creating monthly webinars. We can choose whether to make this a private or a public team. So by default, teams are private, and really this is the push for teams. So a team is an area for a closed group of people to work on, and all of the information within that team stays private to those people. You can make a team public if you want general input from other people in the organization. That's totally open for you to do. So the team will now be created. And then once the team's created, I can very quickly go in and add people to the team. So I'm just going to add a few members. And this is where it's a real advantage that this is now all integrated within Office 365. Because as you can see, I've got all the people within the organization available to me. I can just go down, very quickly add them in. And then the whole team environment is permissioned to these people. Okay, click done, and there you go. So that's my team setup. And what I get out of the box with the team, I get an area for, I get a single channel called General, and within that I get an area for conversations, an area to add files to, and a wiki so that we can take notes on what's happening within the project. I can go in here and I can add a new channel. So I'm just going to add a channel for the March 2017 Office 365 webinar. And sorry about the Americanisms in there. There you go. And we now have an area for us to collaborate on putting a March 2017 webinar together. And immediately, this is all about usability. People won't need an awful lot of training to use this. You know, lots of good thoughts been put into how this thing's been put together. So I can just go straight in and I can dive in and say, any ideas for an agenda for the March webinar? Okay. Just like using Skype for Business, that's now pinged up on everybody's desk in the team, and people can start collaborating, replying to that, giving me amusing answers probably. Unlike Skype, with a Skype conversation, it's very much it's there and it's gone. I can chat to Steve, we can have a conversation. It is then stored in Outlook, so I can search it and refer back to it. But realistically, you don't, and that's very disorganized information. This is instant messaging, but it's very organized. So all of the conversations that are going on here will be stored within this channel, within this team, and that's persistent. I can refer to it. It's also really nice because at any point I can pick up on old conversations, and we can see where the conversation's gone. So you can say Steve and James have been replying, and I can just carry on and I can have a threaded conversation. Thanks. There we go. I can start a new conversation so we can have multiple threaded conversations, all nice and organized. Once we've had a conversation, I can now start creating files. So I can upload some files into the team. So I can add a presentation, I can upload Word documents, or directly from here, if the tab's going to appear, I can create a new file. And again, we're tied very much into Office 365. So I can click on Word document, I can give the Word document a name, and then what's happened in the background is when I've created the team, the system's automatically created a SharePoint team site for me. So all the files that I'm creating are now stored in SharePoint. Because they're stored in SharePoint Online, we've got all of the really nice features that SharePoint Online gives you. So we've got full version control on the files, we've got collaboration, we've got co-authoring. So if I just start to put the agenda together, oops, okay. And then as you can see, Steve's now coming in and he's working on the documents at the same time as me. And these are some of the really nice co-authoring tools that are available within Office 365 and SharePoint Online. If you haven't seen these, they're really good things to have a look at. Because this document is now being worked on in real time online, I no longer have to create a Word document, save it, email it out to people, ask for comments, get 5 documents back, have a look at all the comments, and then somehow try and combine it. As we're working on it, Steve can just sort of finish off the agenda, and that's the job done. If I go back into the Teams app, okay, I have this agenda, I have this document that we're working on, and somewhere I can start a conversation. Okay. Sorry, Steve's just helping me out here. So we pinned this document to these tabs across the top of the channel, and then I click on the conversations icon, which is the one I couldn't find, and now we can start a conversation about this document. So again, I can say any comments on this and we can have a chat. So when we're doing tenders, this is fantastic because we can put the response for the tender up. People can have a read, and then rather than jumping in and starting edit it, people can just sort of go in and give the comments, and everything's stored nice and together. As Steve's done that, I've got a little buzz through on my phone saying that Steve's just commented on the documents. Teams has mobile phones apps. I'll show you that in a minute, so you can have a quick look. So now, if I'm on the move, if I'm out of the office, I'm getting notifications that people are engaging with this project, and I can go in and sort of work with them. There's more things that I can add here. So Microsoft are really starting to join up all of their technologies now. A couple of years ago, it was highly frustrating because you had lovely tools like Yammer and Skype for Business and SharePoint, and they just didn't really talk to each other. Now they're really starting to join together. So we've got things like Planner. So Planner is a new app. It's been out for a little while, but it's a great tool for producing very quick task lists, organized task lists, little project plans used for running your project. So I can add a plan, hopefully, straight into my team. So I'm going to say I'm going to create a marketing plan for my webinar. Okay, so that's saving that. And here I have my marketing plan. I don't want to spend too much time on Planner because that's probably a whole another webinar. But what I have is I have buckets that I can add tasks to. So I can have a social media bucket. Apologies to anybody who's connected with us on LinkedIn. I've been inundated with ads over the last week. So create artwork. I can assign the tasks to various people. Let's give James something to do. Give that a due date. And literally that's it. That's that task created. I can add another task. So this might be schedule ads. Sweet. Giving our secrets away here. Assign that to myself. Okay, so we've got a couple of tasks there, and then we can add a new bucket. So we're also going to I don't know, we need to add some pages to the website. So let's call this bucket website. And then I'll add pages to the website. We need to get them by Saturday morning. There you go. Okay. And very quickly, we start to build up a project plan. These tasks get assigned to people, and highly interactive, very highly interactive. We can move things between buckets, and this is great if you're using agile project management. You know, we've got a great plan set up where we have a pile of tasks in the left-hand column, and then as people pick them up and start working on them, they get moved along into the next bucket until they go through a test phase, and then they end up completed on the right-hand side. So great tools. As we're interacting, all of the activities being recorded up in this activity tab, so I can come in and just get a quick look across all of my teams of what's happening. And you'll notice that we've got presence on these, so I can immediately look at James, see that he's online, and from right within the app, this is where Skype for integration is really good with this. I can give James a ring, or I can even connect to him with video. Am I brave enough to try this?
He's on the call.
I'm going to try this. Hopefully this isn't going to go horribly wrong. If you lose me on audio for a while, Yeah, just bear with us and we'll come back. But let me see if I can do a video call with James. There you go. There's James working at home today. Looking delighted to have been called onto this webinar. Okay. Yeah, very good. So we've got some really joined up technology going on there. We can arrange meetings, and again, I schedule a meeting. Very quick thing to do. Everybody within the team gets an invite to the meeting. Anybody can join it, and they can join by phone, by video, and the collaboration moves on. And I just go back into the channel. So just so you can have a look at a few more of the things that we can add in. We can bring in Power BI reports, we can bring in video streams, and the list of things that come into here will keep on expanding. Another really clever thing that we've got is connectors, and this really gives a fantastic insight as to where Microsoft's going with all this technology. So we just load this page. So what you'll see here is tens and maybe even hundreds of cloud services that you might be using. So we've got some well-used ones at the top. So Twitter, you can join it to a Twitter feed. So for example, I could pull in a Twitter feed of Office 365 webinars. That would pull in any activity around that that's going on in Twitter into my feed. And then as we put in the webinar together, we can have a look at what other people are doing, jump onto other people's webinars, and yeah, just a generally useful thing. But really, we can join this up to Google Analytics, we can join it up to our CRM database. Microsoft are really putting a lot of effort now into joining the cloud community. Just given a time warning by Steve, let me just very quickly show you the phone app. So if I just switch over to my phone. Okay. So I go into my Office 365 section, load up the team app, and you'll see down the bottom here, you can see the webinars group, you can see the channel that I've just added, and here are all the conversations that are happening. If Steve or James wants to just write a quick message. Okay. Hopefully a notification will come through. I think I'm trying to ask too much of the technology. Yeah, asking far too much of the technology. Yeah, so down the bottom there's the messages that have just come in from Steve and James. And on a normal day, I'd get a notification on my phone that things were happening within that group. So good joined up technology here. Okay. So that's a very quick look at what's going on with Microsoft Teams. If we now go into groups, Outlook groups are actually very, very similar to Microsoft Teams. And when I was putting this webinar together, it took me quite a lot of thinking to work out what the fundamental differences were. This is Microsoft Teams. The main difference is Outlook groups or Office 365 groups are designed to work within Outlook. And they're very much designed as a replacement for distribution lists. and shared mailboxes. Distribution lists, shared mailboxes are a way that companies have organised communications that happen through email. And lots of companies have done lots of investments in getting distribution lists and shared mailboxes working. Again, to try and organise emails that are flowing around the business. Groups is the next stage, the next development in that. So if you look at groups through the Office 365 interface through a web browser, you're going to see something that looks very much like the Teams that we've just seen. So we have threaded conversations. I'll just go down here. You can see conversations that have been happening within this group. But these conversations, rather than being instant message based, are email based. So if I had a reply to the bottom of this threaded conversation and send that, what's happening behind the scenes is that's generated an email, sent it to the other people in the group, and that will then appear in the group section within Outlook. So if I go into my normal desktop Outlook, you can see down here that I've got exactly the same groups that are in the web interface, and I have all my threaded conversations, very much like a shared mailbox. What I have now in Outlook is, if you look at the menus across the top, I've got more functionality in there. So within my Outlook group, I can now add calendar items, I can upload files and collaborate on files. I've got a notebook that I can use. If you haven't had a look at OneNote yet, another absolutely fantastic tool that comes with Office 365. But all of the messages that are created are stored as emails. So here's a message that Steve just sent through. If your organisation is very wedded to using desktop Outlook, but you still want to be able to do better collaboration and better joint conversations, groups may well be the way for you to go. There's still a mobile app. So if I just load that up on my phone again. Okay. So here's the Groups app on the phone. And from here again, I can go in, and effectively I'm looking at email conversations, but in a highly structured, organized way. And the great thing that Groups then does is it stops your inbox being cluttered up by all of those internal communications that are happening on the projects that you're working on. All those conversations are now taken out and automatically stored in the correct feed within the correct group, so that I don't have to trawl through 50 emails a day, read them, respond to them, and then try and file them in the correct folder within the box. That effectively is all done for me, and it keeps my inbox then free for communicating with clients and doing things that have to be done with the inbox. Teams and groups, very similar things. Just turn this off. It really depends on how your organisation is used to working. If you're not used to using Outlook to work in that way, then probably Teams is the way to go. It's a very new technology, and it's very closely integrated with Skype, and really that's where Microsoft's push is going to be. So that's Teams and groups. So what we have left in the final 10 minutes or so is a quick look at Yammer. So Yammer is really quite different from Teams and groups. It's another chat-based application, But as you can see from the slide that's on the screen, on the left you have teams and groups, and that's all about colleagues working together. They're fairly tight, designed for fairly tight groups. So you might be working on a project and you might have 3 or 4 colleagues, you might have a project manager, you might have the finance person that's signed off on that. And that might be it for a team. And really nobody else is particularly interested in what's going on in that area. Yammer is seen very much as a company-wide communications tool. So the idea of Yammer, I always think of teams as the communications I do when I've got my head down at my desk and I'm working on a project. Yammer's like going to the canteen. And when I go into the canteen, I can sit with people I play football with, or people that I socialise with, or see somebody that I haven't seen for a couple of years and go and have a chat. And really, this is where the networking and the broader communication within the company goes. And that's very much what Yammer is designed for. So although we can have closed groups in Yammer, the push is very much for open groups and discovery. So people just spend time browsing around, asking questions, trying to find out information. So if I just dive in and let's have a look at what Yammer looks like. Okie doke. So it's very much based on the same type of threaded conversations. So down here on the left-hand side, I've got various groups that I've joined, and these are tend to be quite uncontrolled, and people will set up groups for their particular area of interest. So we have a sales and marketing group. This is, I think this one's probably a closed group, so you can see over on the right-hand side we've got 5 members to the sales and marketing because other people just aren't particularly interested in that. We then have more general groups, so we have a quality group, and this is where sort of quality manager can go out and just communicate with the business, find out what's going on, get suggestions. And as we scroll down here, you'll see, we're having conversations about a document. People are replying to the conversation. Okay. And the whole history of all of those conversations is now there. So again, very structured. And certainly companies with lots of people find this very useful as a forum, as a way for people to find out who's got particular skills that they might want on a project, to just generally ask questions, newbie questions. People new to the organisation can come in, join groups, browse through old conversations. If they can't find things that they need, they can just bang out a question, and hopefully people are monitoring this. If you look at the icons at the top, I've got an inbox. So any replies to any posts that I've put up there will come down to me. And throughout all of these tools, if I start a chat, any ideas about this, I can use the @ symbol and direct my questions at particular people. And again, that will then give them a notification that somebody's trying to communicate to them. Within Yammer, in a group, we can upload files, so we can have conversations about files. We can have notes, so we can make announcements and just effectively put documents together on the fly. But really, that's not what Yammer's about. It's not really about running projects. It's about chat and general company communication. You can also have external groups. So we've just set this up. So the hub is a SharePoint intranet product that we offer, and we've set up or in the process of setting up a hub user voice, and we'll be bringing our hub clients in on this so that this can just be a general chat room for the hub on the Yammer platform. Again, Yammer has got mobile apps, so all of these conversations can be done on the move, on your mobile phone or on the tablet. I'll just let you have a quick look at some of the items that are on there. Similarly, it's up to you whether you want to get notifications of new chat items within a particular group via email. And for email, the way I see emails being used internally in a company is I may get emails telling me that messages have been sent to me on one of these apps. I click on the email, I then go and have the conversation somewhere else, not within email, and then the emails that are coming in internally I can then just delete, and it's easy. No longer do you have to sort of trawl through hundreds of internal emails and get them all filed away in the correct project. And really, that is those 3 products in a nutshell. I'm just going to, Steve's passing me a message about conversations.
Yeah, so I've just removed that from full screen, so unfortunately I think we may have hid some of the chat box from our viewers. So if there are any questions that you wish to direct to us now, if you make use of the moderated chat, which should be in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, and we can try and collate some of those. We may not be able to answer them in the time frame we have currently in the webinar, but we'll certainly do our best to get as many questions answered and get them back to all participants, along with the recording as well. We have a few questions now appearing. So firstly, a question from Samantha Taylor saying, can anything within 365 replace MS Project?
Planner is a really great tool for running smaller projects. So really it's a sophisticated task list where you can create buckets of tasks and assign those to people and track those. If you're doing serious project management where you've got lots of dependencies and lots of different streams of work, then really Microsoft Project is the tool that you're going to want to be using. So it really depends on the size of the project and how complex the interaction between those tasks are, I think.
Yeah, I think they can work hand in hand. All of the services that Colin's briefly walked through today should hopefully give, over and above what you can do in projects, using two of them together. Hopefully your projects can run even more smoother moving forward. A second question has come through from Jacobo Senior. Unfortunately, he was late. No worries, Jacobo. Just asking if you can briefly position Yammer versus Teams versus SharePoint groups.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you want to, can we flick to the slide, the final slide that we showed? So teams and groups serve a very similar purpose. So teams and groups are there to allow people within the organization to very quickly spin up an area where they can collaborate on a specific project. So it's an area where they can store files, have conversations about a project, create meetings, create plans and task lists, and then once the project's done, that team or group will get shut down. And the subtle difference is that Teams is a self-contained tool, very much linked in with Skype for Business. So you've got lots of instant chat, whereas Groups is very email-based. So it's part of Outlook. It's part of Outlook Online and your desktop Outlook, and it's very much email-based. So it really depends on how your people in your organisation are used to using. Yammer, quite different. That's for company-wide collaboration and really discovering and chatting within the organisation. Not really project-based, but more sort of cross-discipline conversations where you might just want to find out information from people within the organisation that you haven't met before. And hence a graphic on the right which shows the different types of pathways for communication to happen. And if you need, obviously, any help with setting this up within your organisation, please feel free to get in touch. Thank you very much.